next news. Breaking news from the White House.
Multiple different locations. Conduct recon. Hit and run missions. Those are the words a mother heard from her own son before she picked up the phone and helped stop what investigators say was a violent plot aimed at Trump's White House UFC celebration. Let that sink in. While patriots packed the lawn and world watched Donald Trump own the culture again, a pack of lunatics plotted drones, snipers, and even a second phase rush at the White House gates. Trump drew the crowd, the crazies crawled out. And this time, America First law enforcement smashed the plan before blood hit the grass. And the story matters because it shows exactly where the threat has moved under modern chaos. Not just the border, not just the bureaucracy, but the American homeland, the skies over major events, and the symbolic center of the republic itself. James Gagliano laid it out cold. Phase 1 targeted the overflow crowd. Phase 2 aimed at storming the White House gates. His number ought to chill every parent in this country. 4,000 people gathered on that lawn. That lawn, the White House lawn, during a patriotic event built around President Trump. And the anchor detail makes it even worse. Tyson Proper's mother told police that he talked about multiple different locations, conduct recon, and hit and run missions. That's not clown behavior. That's operational language. That's planning. That's intent. Now connect that to the broader pattern. Trump restores public space, projects confidence, and commands culture. His enemies answer with sabotage, hysteria, and violence. The former Biden administration spent years normalizing weakness. President Trump is cleaning it up in real time, and weak state predators hate every single second of it. And while we're talking about real threats and real resilience, let me take a quick second for something practical that hit home for me. Now, you've probably seen the clip of Joe Rogan with Mel Gibson talking about people close to them who went through serious health struggles and then saw dramatic turnarounds. Rogan gets into red light-based therapies and how they work at the cellular level, and Gibson just cuts through the noise. This stuff works. That grabbed me because I watched something similar in my own home. My wife dealt with constant discomfort and anxiety for a long time. And when we found red light therapy, it made a real difference. That pushed me to look deeper, and Jonathan Otto's work helped point us in the right direction. If you want to check it out, you can see the interviews with Jonathan right here on this channel, or go to myredlight.com. Use NNN25 for individual items or NNN30 for bundles. It's simple, it's practical, and it's worth a look. When your family needs something that helps you rebuild strength instead of drain it, that matters. Now back to the part that should have detonated across every network in America. Dana White said there were multiple threats swirling around this White House event in real time. Multiple. While Trump's team kept order, while the storm splits at the White House and goes around it, while patriots filled the lawn anyway, CNN sleepwalked right past the terror angle. Chris Plante nailed a contrast. Huge breaking news tied to Trump's event, and CNN veered off into fluff. We're going to put those reactions on screen because the blackout tells you almost as much as the plot. So a mother's call may have stopped what investigators say could have become the deadly plot at the White House UFC event. Here's an update from our previous coverage on this topic.
Know a lot more than when I joined you 24 hours ago, but still certainly more to learn. The entire plot may have been stopped by a concerned mother in Ohio. Now, those involved in the alleged plot arrested in Ohio, Nebraska, Missouri, and California. This is Tyson Proper. His mother called police just a few days ago after she was concerned about her son's recent conduct, including firearms purchases and his communications with people online. According to authorities, when she asked him what he was doing, he said he couldn't tell her exactly what he was doing, but that they were looking at multiple different locations and intended to conduct recon as well as hit-and-run missions. His mother believed hit-and-run missions meant conducting shootings and then leaving. According to court documents, Bill, authorities seized several boxes of ammunition from Proper and this rifle with the American flag painted on it. Proper spoke to investigators, spilling the beans on others allegedly involved in the plot via chat networks. In Southern California, authorities took into custody and charged these two men with conspiracy to commit murder. 24 24-year-old Brian Roa and 32-year-old Michael Thomas on the right. According to court documents, investigators say that Proper was in touch with both men online. Investigators say they have screen grabs from one of the phones of an alleged plotter that feature aerial photos, you see them right there, and maps of locations in and around Washington, D.C. Authorities say there were discussions about where snipers should be placed and drones launched.
Just because we're done with Freedom 250 or that particular event doesn't mean we're going to stop. There are still suspects at large, and we're going to work it until everyone's been identified.
Sources say at this point there is no indication of a foreign nexus regarding this alleged plot that never materialized, but the priority is finding other people involved with that chat.
So that's the update. The mother didn't just know something was off. She flagged talk about multiple different locations, conduct recon, hit and run missions. They may have saved lives. Now, Dan Bongino explains why the drone piece of the plot is a nightmare scenario security teams have been warning about for years.
This is what you've been warning about for the last year now. But because of great law enforcement work and a parent that saw something and didn't sit on her tail, you guys were able to disrupt this.
Yeah, this has really been a problem that's been tip of the spear in my mind for a long time, the drone problem, that is. I wrote about it in a book 10 years ago. Someone, one of my listeners on my show sent me a SoundCloud file of one of my first podcasts where I brought up how pressing a problem this was. And it came up to me early when I was a young Secret Service agent at the White House, where I'm just going to tell you, at least back then, I want to be clear, Lawrence, there was really no good plan for drones at all. It was kind of like a we'll get to it when we'll get to it plan. Well, that's not good enough. And, the audience needs to keep in mind the reason the drone problem is so difficult to solve is, think about it, if you were to put an explosive on a drone, which is what the subjects in this case, the suspects were thinking about doing, and I'm sure others are as well. If you were to put that same explosive in a car's four wheels. How it gets there, it doesn't really matter. Like there's old school ways to stop that. You have obstacles, vehicle obstacles, you have planters, you have all this kind of stuff we developed since four wheels have been rolling down the road in the assembly line with Henry Ford. None of that stuff works with a drone. You can't put an obstacle that goes up into low space that's going to stop a flying object from flying into Times Square or New York City or elsewhere.
So his point's simple. Barriers can stop a truck, but they don't stop an explosive drone. Next, coming out of the sky, retired FBI supervisor James Gagliano lays out just how ugly the plan allegedly was, including what he calls Phase 1 and Phase 2.
This is the new paradigm right here, what you're talking about. Drone mitigation is one of the FBI's top priorities. We're actually teaching local law enforcement how to handle those kind of things. Now, we do have active countermeasures. I won't get into the nuts and bolts because obviously those are tactics that we don't want to share, but early warning is the big thing. And Lawrence, lastly, the simplicity of this. Don't be lulled to sleep by the simplicity. A good plan, violently executed, this could have been horrible.
So real quickly, can we talk about that second phase? So this was phase one, where they tried to get the overflow crowd, snipe them off, but then they plan on that second phase, storming the White House gates.
Yeah, this is reminiscent of what Eric Rudolph did back during the 1990s, where you set off a bomb at a clinic and then have a secondary device when the first responders come. What they wanted to do, there were 4,000 people gathered on that lawn, including the president and a lot of cabinet members and Congress folks. What they wanted to do was have the drones drop explosive payloads, have everybody tear towards the ingress-egress points, and then use long weapons to snipe them as they were leaving.
Good God. So he describes not just an online fantasy, but a coordinated kill plan aimed at a crowd in the White House itself. After that breakdown, Senator John Kennedy gives a blunt moral verdict on the suspects who allegedly wanted blood on the lawn.
Gratitude. I feel disgust. I'm glad that these guys got caught. I feel disgust. Even duct tape and WD-40 can't fix stupid. What a bunch of goobers. Our intelligence, FISA or not, is the best in the world, and I'm glad they were caught. But, these guys, they're more than just mildly insane as far as I'm concerned, and I hope they all get to spend some quality time with Bubba in a federal penitentiary.
He says it straight. Gratitude. They were caught, discussed with the kind of lunatics willing to try it. But while law enforcement treat this like the major terror story it is, Chris Plante shows how CNN somehow managed to breeze right past it. Look how much time CNN devotes to this huge breaking news about Democrats' plan to attack Trump's UFC event with drones and snipers.
All right, breaking news. The FBI director just announced officials stopped a threat to the UFC event just held at the White House. We're getting new details on this. Overnight, a dramatic rescue, a person clinging to a tree. You can see highlighted right there as floodwaters rush in.
So the clip tells you everything about the media cartel trampling terror threat on one side, without a chase anything else. Meanwhile, the crackdown didn't stop with this case because Kash Patel's FBI just grabbed an illegal alien flying a drone in restricted airspace near World Cup festivities and seized nearly 24 drones.
Federal and local law enforcement confiscating 15 drones in total. The seizures come amid heightened security and airspace restrictions in U.S. World Cup host cities, including Atlanta. The FBI's Atlanta field office says individuals who violated restricted airspace face penalties up to $100,000 and potential criminal charges. The Bureau is urging drone operators to check for active flight restrictions using an FAA-approved Before You Fly service provider.
So the threat's real, current, and coming from the skies, which is exactly why this kind of enforcement matters. And while the enemies are plotting in the dark, the world was watching Trump's UFC event in broad daylight, with the world leaders openly praising the spectacle and Dana White's role in it. A hot mic catches world leaders lavishing Trump with praise over the UFC, while a White House fight during the G7 event in Europe.
To be boxing, but now the UFC's the event and what it has. We'll see. Dana is amazing. Mr. President Dana is amazing guy. He's a great guy. Loves you guys. He's a great guy. Without him, everybody's replaceable in this state's not. In a way.
So the praise matters because this wasn't just a fight card. It was Trump showing he still owns the crowd. Next, Joe Rogan talks about the bizarre weather twist with the storm seeming to veer away after experts feared a delay would wreck the night.
The temperature was perfect. I was very concerned about that. I was really concerned that these guys are going to have to fight in the heat, but that was not an issue at all. It seemed like it was in the 70s, and it was the storm, like, miraculously just passed us. Like, there was all these weather warnings. At one point in time, the fight was supposed to start at 8 p.m., and at one point in time, one of the weather experts wanted us to start at 10:30. Yeah, because there were 10:30 at night, which would have been a disaster. 10:30 at night would have been a disaster because it's a 6-hour show.
Yeah.
You know, or close to it, whatever it is. 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 1. I guess it was 5 hours. But somehow or another, the storm just almost went around the White House. I mean, I don't know.
Mysteriously.
I don't know what that is. I don't know if that's science or if that's consciousness. I don't know what steered the storm or if it's just random luck. It could have been all of the above. But all my fears of the weather getting in the way of the fights were null. It didn't mean anything. And then there was this long sort of ceremonial thing where they had jets fly over and, you know, they played music and all this different stuff. So by the time we got to the actual fights, dark out, perfect. The weather was perfect. So that wasn't an issue at all.
So Rogan says the weather experts want to push back, and that would have been a disaster, but somehow the storm appeared to miss the event. Dana White picks it up from there, saying there were actual multiple threats swirling around Freedom 250, and the FBI stayed on top of it in real time.
Reality. There was no safer place in America to be on Sunday night than in D.C.
You talk about all those people out there, Dana, too, hearing about, you know, the weather's going to be horrible and it's going to rain and the wind. You're hearing about all that, and they still all went out there, and the weather held up.
The storm comes and splits at the White House and goes around the White House in the ellipse.
Like divine intervention.
Well, the president believes that to his core.
Did you have any idea that this was all happening, Dana, and just reaction that somebody was apparently planning to do something horrible on Sunday?
Yeah, there was more than that. There was more than that. And yes, I was in the loop on all of the stuff that was happening in real time. These are the kind of events that bring the nuts out. You know what I mean? This is normal stuff.
This was never going to, they didn't get to the point, Dana, where you guys were so concerned that you were, hey, maybe we can't do this. This was happening.
The FBI is so good.
Yeah.
I mean, these guys are so good at what they do. I mean, the up-to-date things that I had during, the week of the fight, these guys are incredible.
So even with Patriots packing the grounds and weather breaking their way, Dana White says the danger wasn't limited to just a problem. He goes deeper on multiple threats, and on the moment the storm seemed to split at the White House. Here's more on that divine intervention.
Channel 7 meteorologists.
Right.
We have like the military, right? We got like the best guys in the world. We're absolutely positively getting hit. It's going to hit. So we got a team. We're ready. When it hits, we're going to get out there and clean everything up as best we can. And then we're going to go on at 9 o'clock. Okay.
Right.
I think it was 9 o'clock, between 9 and 9:30. Okay.
Right.
We're going to go after the rain. The storm comes and splits.
Unbelievable.
At the White House.
Miracle.
And goes around the White House in the ellipse.
Like divine intervention.
Well, the president believes that to his core. That, it was divine intervention.
I saw the radar images, Dana, and right, it's like a big ass storm, and then it's like gone, and then it's back again.
So my head of production, Craig Borsari, who is the absolute best in the business, and a genius and a workhorse, he lost 10 pounds this week.
And of course, who can ever forget the moment the rainbow rose over the National Mall? God's promise right there. So here's the moral core of it. If a mother heard her son, Tyson Proper, talk about multiple different locations, conduct recon, hit and run missions, and she acted like an American with a conscience, she didn't protect madness. She exposed it. Then cops and agents moved, and they moved fast, hard, correctly. And that's why 4,000 people on that lawn went home alive. And while Trump projected strength so forcefully that world leaders got caught praising the UFC spectacle on a hot mic, anti-Trump fanaticism answered with the ugliest thing it knows: terror against a crowd. Not debate, not persuasion, violence. That tells you who owns the energy in this country. Donald Trump fills the White House lawn. His enemies lurk in chats, scout targets, and dream about storming gates. It's pathetic, evil, and got crushed anyway. So give credit where credit belongs, okay? Credit the mother who spoke up before this plot turned into a massacre. Credit the local police, the agents, and Kash Patel's FBI for acting like a real federal force again. And yes, credit President Trump for building a culture so alive, so unapologetically American, that even world leaders stopped to praise it while the bitter fringe melted down in the shadows. But do not stop at applause. Hunt every co-conspirator. Rip apart every online network tied to this operation. Hammer every player with the toughest charges available. Lock down restricted airspace. Seize every illegal drone near major events. Deport every illegal alien who abuses access near protected zones. Patel's FBI already nabbed an illegal alien flying a drone near World Cup festivities. 24 drones got seized. Good. Do more. Patriots are not surrendering the lawn, the mall, the sky, or the country to lunatics. So share this segment, post your take, and force the blackout artist to look straight at what Trump's America First just beat. Make sure you stay connected with the Next News Network. I've read your comments, and that's why I set up this telephone number to stay connected with you. Just text the words raw feed to 844-840-4963. bypass the algorithm, get the notifications directly from me when YouTube fails you. And since we're celebrating America 250, make sure you hit the merch shelf below this video or go to shop.nextnewsnetwork.com.
The system controls information. Information control is power.
They don't want you to see this.
The truth only survives together. They don't want this shared. Share this now.